Hello again, firing squad. Today's going to be yet another different type of video. I've got a few things I want to show you, and I've got a gentleman who is willing to help me a little bit with my videos and my YouTube channel to hopefully make it more appealing. So with that being said, come with me. We're going for a walk. I'm going to show you a few things, something that I've done to help prepare myself for whatever may come our way. Not to say, well, yeah, screw it. Yeah, you could say I'm a prepper. So stand by. Now, some people might say that, you know, yeah, being a prepper is all and good, but I live in the middle of the city and I can't really do a whole lot of stuff. Well, yeah, you can. And I'm going to show you what we've done. So here we go. You ready? We got food. Hopefully gonna go well. We have peppers. Yes, in buckets. We have potatoes. Yes, in buckets. Found an extra little spot down here by the fence that we did plant. I believe it's squash. So we should have maybe 2, possibly 3 plants of squash growing in this spot here in the next, hopefully week or so. It'll start popping up. We've got more peppers and radishes. More peppers, leaf lettuce, more bell peppers. And we've gotten a little bit of rain here. Some purple dragon carrots, some golden carrots, and black carrots, something to that effect. Yes, we're doing them in buckets. We've got potatoes, yes, in a big old fat recycling bin. Yet more potatoes, more potatoes, more potatoes. Asparagus, onions, celery, mini bells, green beans. Yes, they have grown like crazy. We just planted these green beans, more green beans, just like a week ago. They were taking shape of their own in the bag. Okay. Now you might be saying, but Charlie, water is expensive, and you know, I can't go watering my plants all the time. I have a solution. This is my gutter on my garage. I have 2 tanks at 275 gallons a piece. They're IBC totes. They are food grade. You want to keep them covered because you don't want the sunlight getting to them. And here's how this system works. You've got the drain coming off the gutter. This is what's known as a first rinse. I've got a water bottle that's probably got about 2 inches or so water in it. That way, whenever my valve down here, I've got it barely turned on whenever I need water in my tanks. I'll have it barely turned on and it'll trickle down this pipe into the yard, but yet it'll fill up this first rinse system. As it fills up, this is a 4-inch, I think 3-inch PVC pipe, maybe 4, I don't recall. It's collecting all of the stuff, all the garbage on my roof. And yes, I've got some type of screening up there to help with the heavier stuff. But as this fills up, that water bottle will come up to this reducer coupling right here and plug it. Then everything will go into this tank. Boom. Both of my tanks at the end of winter were at about 3/4 full. We had rain showers slated for, I think, all weekend, early spring. And when I came out after the first day, both of my tanks were topped off completely full. Now you might be asking, okay, how do I get tank water from here to over there? Well, I've got a hose that connects the two. Yeah, I need to trim a little bit back here, but I've got this water hose that goes into this tank right there. I'll leave that valve open, and everything that stays even at all times. Now to take you over to what I really wanted to show you besides the buckets. I don't have a big yard. So this, I've got probably a little more room than some people, but it's all in what you're willing to sacrifice. I've got two quite large dogs. I mean, they're about 100 pounds apiece, but they need room to run around. And I got one dog that loves to run. So we've had to quarantine them off from one area of our backyard where we've got our tomatoes. We're gonna end up with 2 rows of tomatoes, a row and a third, pardon the dogs, a row and a third of onions, planted some cucumbers, and to steal a quote from Scott at Kentucky Ballistics, we've got an eggplant because nobody likes eggplants. In this spot in the middle here, we've got oh gosh, I can't remember. We got squash over here by the fence, and I can't remember what it is. But down back here, we've got just a handful more onions. And then in these 2 rows, we've got green beans, which are doing exceptionally well. I did my garden a little bit different this year, or at the end of last year, in the fact that in the fall, when all the leaves fell from all of these trees back here, and there's trees, and my garden doesn't get a whole lot of sunlight, but it gets some. The leaves, I tried to take, since I've got dogs, and you can't really use leaves that dogs have pottied on. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. That dogs have pottied on. I like to have the flag in my videos. I try to find the cleanest leaves possible, and we've got some compost back behind the garage in between the 2 water tanks. I'm sure you've seen the tarp back there. There's a little bit of compost back there, vegetables and whatnot that we have left over from dinner and such. I'm gonna walk around a little bit. Ooh. Yeah, I do this on the phone. I covered my garden with a giant tarp. I mean, it's a pretty sizable garden. I'm gonna flip my view again. That's pretty good sized garden. As you can see, I've got one of those soaker hoses that goes down every other row that is fed off of both of those water tanks. In my garden, I've got a timer on it, on the water tanks, and I do it for 30 minutes or so. and my garden gets watered very well. So with that being said, anybody really can do this unless you live, I get it, in an apartment or so. But I took my giant tarp and I brought it into the garden area and I covered up my whole garden in leaves. I ran a tiller through it after I picked up my rubber snakes to keep the varmints away, and I covered it in leaves, tilled them in, put some water on it, and then I covered it all up with this giant tarp so it would have started natural compost and get some natural peat moss in the soil. So it's again, it's all in what you're willing to sacrifice. Kind of like with everything else. You want to lose weight, you got to sacrifice. You got to sacrifice how much you eat. You got to sacrifice sitting down watching TV or videos on YouTube. Yes, I'm saying YouTube, and or Reels or TikTok or whatever, and do some exercise. Everything's a sacrifice. If you want to do it, you want to do it bad enough. If you've got a little bit of room, I don't have a whole lot of space. I'm making do with what I got. You can have your little garden, rainwater catchment system, and buy a can or two of vegetables extra. Say you're going to go to the store and get some groceries. You need, 3 or 4 cans of green beans, 3 or 4 cans of corn, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Well, do this. Pick up 1 or 2 extra cans and put them back. The way prices and the way the economy is right now, you might need to do what our grandparents did and store food. So, yeah, give it some thought. What are you willing to sacrifice? I got my ink pen on. What are you willing to sacrifice so that your family can eat? You can be somewhat self-sufficient. I know what I'm willing to do. What are you willing to do? That's going to be it for this one. Give it some thought, something to chew on, and never forget, freedom isn't free. Peace and love, y'all. P.S. One more thing. I didn't think about it until just now. There will be more videos coming up, and tomorrow we're going to have our first official range day. So stay tuned. I might be posting another video tomorrow evening of tomorrow morning / afternoon's events. Y'all have a blessed day.